Well, that didn't go the way we all had planned for it to go. Carlos Correa had a game. Framber Valdez struggled, and the offense was completely stymied by Pablo Lopez, who threw an absolute gem. Look, game recognized game here. Let's talk about this and look ahead to Game 3 on this edition of Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett Htown Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we're your daily Astros podcast. We want to welcome you into a show. It is very, very tough to talk about a game like this, but look, nonetheless, we are here. This episode today is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is a great website. If you go today and you use a promo code Locked On MLB, you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. You can find me at Htown Wheelhouse on X, on Instagram, and on TikTok. You can find me at Astros411 on X, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find the show at Locked On Astros on X, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, we are free to listen to. And look, you just on your way to work, on your way home from work, turn on Locked On Astros. Remember, we're your team every day. Look, the home bug bit us today, or was it the Pablo Lopez bug that bit us? Because let me tell you, I was at Game 1 and I was at Game 2, and Game 1, you would have thought this team's never lost a game at home. Game 2, you're like, oh, the home woes, or people in the stadium were like, oh, the roof is open. That ball would have been out. This ball would have been out. But the Twins came out firing. I mean, the Twins hit a home run, got on the board first. They kind of put the game, 3-0 in the first 2 innings. But they hit that home run before Yordan Alvarez's home run, and the wind or the roof being open didn't seem to be a thing. The last 2 playoff games that I've been to where the roof has been open, they've actually won both of those games. So look, it's not a roof thing. This isn't what catcher starts over another. This was a simple baseball game that came down to an amazing game that Pablo Lopez pitched and an absolutely flawed game that Framber Valdez threw tonight. And Framber Valdez's velocity was up. I don't know if y'all noticed in the first couple innings, he was overthrowing. Look, there at the stadium, I was watching the game. I've always paid attention when the pitchers warm up. I don't know why that is. Well, I know why it is, but I always kind of hyper focus on that. If I'm near the bullpen, I'll watch them warm up in their bullpens. Framber wasn't hitting the mitt in his warm-ups. Framber looked out of sync. I mean, he was throwing stuff in the dirt. And I just looked at the person next to me and I said, Framber just looks off. He looks like he's overthrowing. And just from the get-go, look, when your starting pitcher struggles against any team in the playoff, even the Minnesota Twins, who really, outside of last night, didn't really do a whole lot in those first 2 games in their wild card series. I mean, they only scored like 3 runs. They had 12 total hits, only 2 extra base hits. Those were both home runs by Royce Lewis. So coming into this series, it wasn't like they beat the brakes off of the Blue Jays. But they have Carlos Correa. And I think Carlos Correa was an absolute X factor tonight. When Yordan Alvarez was up to bat, he had gotten a ball high and inside. They had a meeting at the mound. And this is obviously before Lopez left, and then Yordan put that tank to left center field. But you could tell Carlos Correa went there with the catcher, and he said something to him. The next pitch he threw down and in, okay, kind of towards his knees, kind of backed him off the plate a little bit, and then he threw him a strike away, and then he threw a strike up and in and got him to swing and miss. I'm telling you, the intel that Carlos Correa is providing these pitchers is probably invaluable to them. Framber, you're right. Framber just did not look focused. Since I'm flying solo tonight, I'm going to do my best to get y'all's comments up here. If I don't see them, it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's because I'm trying to focus. You know, it's a little different when we do shows solo versus together. You know, you got someone tag teaming there helping you out. But when I look at this, Jeremy Pena had 2 hits of 105 miles an hour in this game. Yordan Alvarez, 106.2. The only runs scored were the 2 runs scored by Yordan Alvarez's 2-run blast in the 8th inning, where you're like, all right, we've got life. Like, Yordan's here and he's back. But, you know, Jeremy Pena was 2 for 4. Jose Altuve was 2 for 4. And then Alvarez got a hit. Brentley got a hit. McCormick got a hit. And then big nothing burgers across the board. Kyle Tucker went down on strikes a couple times. Bregman went down on strikes. And there were a lot of first pitch fastballs. And I've actually gone back and yes, I know. I'm aware of that, Amanda. His last few starts, he has looked shaky. I was just kind of hoping he would be like super Framber in this start being that it was a playoff start. But from my perspective in the stadium, and if you go to the game, if you've been to any Astros game or any game in general, you'll know, like, from certain, of course, everybody thinks they see the pitch as a strike when it's called a ball or, whatever. Everybody thinks you have a better view than the umpire. But genuinely, from where I was at, and then I went and looked at several first pitches, and I went back and I didn't look at every single one because I was driving back from the game, and that's not smart to drive and look at strike zones while you're driving. It's very unsafe. Don't do that, kids. But a lot of first pitch fastballs, and Dusty Baker after the game tonight said that the reason why they didn't swing at those was because he wasn't throwing them down the middle. I think about 4 or 5 of them were down the middle because I looked at my ballpark app right after the pitch, and they were pretty close to the middle. There was one that Yordan had in his second at bat, I believe. The first pitch was absolutely in his hot zone. Kyle Tucker had a pitch that was absolutely in his hot zone. I mean, there were a lot of pitches that they sat on and didn't swing at. And I was wondering tonight, is this a game plan? Was his pitch count so low that they were trying to get his pitch count up? I was really trying to dissect and try to understand. And I just think at the bottom line is this: Pablo Lopez was just throwing gas today. I mean, 12 swings and misses. I mean, Framber had 11, but he made mistakes. He was all over the place tonight. He did not look comfortable. He was hopping off the mound. He looked out of sync. And just from the get-go, when they scored that run in the first, and when they put up the crooked number in the second and to make it 3-0, a 3-0 game is not an insurmountable lead. I mean, this is the Houston Astros. And look, I'm gonna tell y'all why we don't really need to worry about this one game here later on, because it's not over. This is a 5-game series. We play better on the road. I know we're going to Minnesota. They're excited. They now have, quote unquote, home field advantage. That's fine. I think the Astros have the capability to take care of the games in Minnesota. And even if you get one, you at least are guaranteed coming back home for game 5. So I think game 3 is going to be a huge, huge game. If the Astros do go down in game 3, we'll talk about that in a minute, that will put their backs against the wall. But is this team better with their backs against the wall? You can't go away from the fact that Carlos Correa had a hell of a game at the plate, 3 for 4 tonight. Almost hit a couple home runs, just was driving the ball. Kyle Farmer, who? I mean, I think he came from the Reds. I'm joking. Kyle Farmer, gets up there, hits a blast. But the Twins, they had 10 hits and they had 6 runs. They actually left like 7 on base, but the Astros had 7 hits and only 2 runs. They just could not produce. They missed the opportunities. They did not score when guys were on base. There was the one time when Kyle Tucker could have gone home. Now, hindsight's 2020. Gary Pettis usually sends the runner, and I don't think he well, no one could have predicted that throw going into home was going to be offline or over the third baseman's head. So that's probably why he stopped Kyle Tucker. But if the Astros score that one run, does that change the complexion of the game? I don't know. I think at that time it would be 3-1. Maybe it does. But the bottom line is, when your guy gets out, when Yordan hits a 2-run home run late in the game, you've got to jump on that pitcher because Duran, this guy's nasty. He's got to be one of the most intimidating closers in all of baseball. He averages 101.8 on his fastball. Did you hear that? 101.8. Now, this is impressive stuff, but something that's also impressive is our sponsor, Game Time. And I want to tell y'all about Game Time because there's no time like now to get involved with Game Time, because not only do we have playoff baseball in Houston, we also have the Rocket season coming up, and we have football. And it's not just sports, it's any kind of event. It's music, it's comedy, it's theater events. They have some amazing deals, last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seats, the best price guaranteed. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets, last-minute tickets, flash deals, and zone deals. Easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event, views from your seats, and the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection as well, and so much more. You can buy these tickets literally if you're walking up to the stadium. Just walk up to the stadium and just say, you know what, I want to buy a ticket today, and go buy that ticket and then walk into the game and go watch the game. So right now, I just really think that it is important for you guys to go to Game Time, download the app. It's really easy. And if you use the promo code Locked On MLB, you will get $20 off your first purchase using the promo code Locked On MLB. Game Time. Download the app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. And make sure that you tune in to the Houston Astros Game 3 of the ALDS in Minnesota on Tuesday. It is at 3:07 p.m. And if you're still at work and you can't watch it, you can pull up SiriusXM and listen to the hometown broadcasts and all the calls on SiriusXM. Go to the SXM app, search Astros. Now, to be honest with y'all, I'm going to get to y'all's questions here in a second. I want y'all to fire some questions at me, and I will answer those as we're looking ahead to Game 3 in the final segment. We are in the second segment right now. So I kind of bumped around a little bit here or there with the offense, with the pitching that we saw from Pablo Lopez. And I'll just be real honest. Sometimes baseball just happens. The thing I want us to focus on is this. The Houston Astros are the only top seed to win their first game in the ALDS. All the other teams lost their first game. So we're the only team that had a week off that actually won their first game. So at least we got that under our belts, and we know what kind of a road team that we are. Mr. Corona is asking thoughts on fans booing Correa. Well, look, here's the deal. I understand why they are booing Correa. They're not. It's funny. Someone was booing Correa next to me, and they said, man, I love that guy. He was awesome, but I got to boo him because he's on the other team now. He's one of them. He's the enemy or whatever. So I just think that is something that I didn't really think much of it. I mean, everybody was doing it, but everybody deep down loves Carlos Correa for what he did, for the way he put the team on his back. Everybody knows how important he was to this run. And I absolutely hate facing him in the playoffs, especially now when he's having a good series. Look, for some people, it's what they do. For other people, not. But I think when you have boos like that, I think that is more of a kind of a bystander thing. I think people do it because other people around them are doing it. But it didn't really bother me, be that much. Some of y'all, it seems like some of y'all have some pretty choice words for Correa. Some guy next to me was like flipping him off in the stadium and yelling F you. And I'm just like, why? Like, why are you, don't do that. That's stupid. Like you look like a fan from the Northeast. of a certain team with pinstripes on or whatever, like take like the worst of each fan base. Don't be that guy or that girl, right? If you're going to boo somebody, boo them, but don't flip them off and hurl insults at them, cuss words at them. Anyways, I digress. But yeah, someone goes, he is the enemy now. Look, the umpires were bad. That is correct. They were bad for the Twins. It was opposite tonight. Something I found out about this umpiring crew. Okay. All 4 umpires, all 4, not 1, not 2, all 4 rank in the bottom 10% in the league when it comes to strikes called in the strike zone. So what that means is they have the highest, there's 90% of umpires in this league are better at calling strikes in the zone than these 4 guys. They're in the bottom 10%. What that means is they call strikes outside of the zone on a consistent basis. And something else I found out, and I don't know if y'all caught this, but I was listening to the telecast on my way home. I had my hands free in with my phone. I was listening to the game, and AJ Brzezinski and the other main announcer, I can't remember his name for Fox, was talking about the box and how the box kind of makes umpires look bad. And I don't know, maybe y'all have known this, but I didn't know this until just now. And I'm never afraid to admit when I come into new knowledge, because we don't ever know everything. That box is the average strike zone that hitter has had in the last 100 at bats. In other words, where that guy swings and what he does in his plate appearances. So that box is not exactly the same size for every single player. That's kind of weird. I was like, hold on, wait, is that last 100 at bats for across the league? They didn't really explain it, but basically what it sounded like was that those boxes are for each player, or maybe they just take the last 100 at bats and they make a box. So the reason why I'm saying that is that's not an exact science, but Kyle Tucker absolutely should have walked late in the game. Alex Bregman absolutely shouldn't have struck out and shouldn't have had those balls called on him. It is weird. I heard it tonight and I had to go, I don't know about this. Is Angel Hernandez an umpire this postseason? I have not heard his name called, but I am not sure. Someone says, why? Hold on. This is an interesting question. I don't know if I can answer this, and I don't really know that I have enough time to really devote to it, but our sense says, why are there no women umpires? You know what? I don't know. That is a really good question. There may be female umpires in college. I know there's definitely some in high school. I know the NBA has female refs. I know the NFL has female refs now, I believe, but I don't know. That's a good question. I've never looked into that. That might be something, if I can find maybe an umpire to interview over the summer, or over the summer in the off season after the postseason run is done and our charge of the title is done, then maybe I can find out and ask. But I am not too sure. Right here, Brett, do you think the Astros are going to fall from here? Fall from here, you got to be a little bit more specific. Look, it's one game. This team has been there, done that. This team has been through a ton. I do not anticipate this to be the thing that breaks them. I don't think they have a fall off this year. Now, if they don't go to the World Series, if they don't win the World Series, will everybody consider that a falling off? Well, did they win the World Series every year in this run? No, they haven't. So I don't think they've fallen off. But we'll just have to see. Someone had mentioned, instead of blaming the umps, blame your catcher. He is statistically the worst catcher at framing. Check Baseball Savant, Rangers fan. Okay. Yes. Oh no, I'm definitely. Hey, what's up, Rangers fan? You guys are puffing out your chest, going up 2-0 on the Baltimore Orioles. It's like the Orioles were not ready for the big lights of the playoffs, and you guys are taking that playoff experience you have in your veterans to task. So good job for you guys. You guys are up 2-0. I hope we finish the task, and if it's an all Texas ALCS, I am here for it. No, I wasn't saying I was blaming the umpires. I was just stating some facts about the umpires. Pablo Lopez was the reason why this offense did not get off the ground. Pablo Lopez just pitched a masterful game, and you have to recognize that. When great pitchers have great performances and great starts, you can't ignore it. But I want to take a second to tell y'all about our sponsor who's been with us all season long, Hooters. And look, if you get a break at work and you're able to go somewhere during the day and watch the game, why don't you go to Hooters? Why? Because Hooters makes you happy. And if you go on Tuesday they have $9.99 burgers and fries. If you go to Wednesday's game, they have buy one, get one boneless wings. I mean, they always have Blue Moons for $3. They always have Michelob Ultras for $9.99. And they have great wings. Like me, I prefer the smoked wings. They're phenomenal. They're top notch. And I usually get the honey chipotle, phenomenal. Maybe with some fries, maybe with the Blue Moon. It's just a great place. They've got great service. The Hooters girls are always there. They do a great job. I mean, any kind of drink you want, gentle bends. I mean, it could be anything. They will serve it up for you. And on Thursday nights, I know at NASA and Pearland, they have Thursday night karaoke after Thursday night football. And they do have happy hour 2 to 7 during the week and 10 p.m. to close. So check them out no matter the occasion, whether it's baseball, football, college or pro, UFC, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that when you go, you tell them the guys from Locked On Astros sent you, and you'll get a free basket of fried pickles. Why? Because Hooters makes you happy. And make sure that you tune into the Astros and Twins game Tuesday, game 3, the ALDS, 3:07 p.m. Central Standard Time. Catch all the hometown play calls on SiriusXM. Go to the SXM app, search Astros. So, look, thank you all again for tuning in. I'm Htown Wheelhouse. I'm going solo tonight. And let me get back to y'all's comments and see if I can throw some stuff up here. Yes, Javier is going to need his best stuff. Christian Javier is going to need to go out and actually throw an absolute gem. And look, this is so funny to me. We have random Braves fans. America is very happy. Go Twins. I love this. Thank y'all so much for showing up and hanging out with us tonight, Braves fans. The Braves are down 1-0 to the Phillies, and the Phillies, look, the Phillies could repeat what they did last year. I mean, they knocked the Braves out last year. That was it. I didn't see that coming. And so Braves, watch out for the Phillies. And Dodgers, man, they got pummeled in their first game. So the Diamondbacks are up 1-0. Phillies are up 1-0. And look, these are all 5-game series. Okay. Yeah. The Braves need to worry about the Phillies, not the Astros. Let me see right here. This is Jesse. He is on here on a regular basis. Brett, do you think the Astros still have a shot in Minnesota? Any concerns? Look, I'll be real honest with you. And I am not saying this as a homer. They have the second best record in the entire league on the road. They are a great road team. Now, just like when the Orioles got pummeled at home, the Orioles are also a great road team in Arlington. So these teams perform better on the road. I believe the Astros get it done. And if they can't win 2 in Minnesota, they come home. And you saw game 1, the whole, home being a disadvantage thing didn't matter. I think if it would have mattered that much in the playoffs, I think the Astros probably would have lost the first 2 games. But they didn't. They didn't lose the first 2 games. I mean, they won the first game in convincing fashion. The Twins charged back and they pushed ahead more. They forged ahead more. Today, they just didn't have it. Pablo Lopez, you might see him in a game 5 if there's a game 5. So they know the task at head. They know the task at hand. They know exactly what's going on. And remember, last year's run was a perfect run. This was their first loss in 13 ALDS games. I think they had like a 12-game win streak going or something like that. I mean, just because they swept every series last year going into the World Series and only lost 2 games in the whole postseason, if y'all have ridden with us all season long, I've told you that this road is going to be tougher. This is a competitive ALDS. And, Mariners fans will say last year's ALDS, they were a few hits away or a few swings away from winning 2 of those first 3 games. Well, no, they got swept. You either win or you lose. They simply got swept. It wasn't competitive. Do you know who was more competitive in the ALDS than the Mariners? The White Sox. You remember the White Sox series? You remember winning and then going to Chicago? You remember that game where like Chicago, their fans, the lights, it was crazy how insane that ballpark was up there. And then what did the Astros do? They won. I know the Twins are going to be fired up. Their fans are going to be fired up. It's going to be a hostile environment. But where has this team strived? They have strived the most when the pressure is on the road, amidst the boos. They got their home run hankies or whatever they call it in Minnesota. That's fine. But I am not worried. That's a really long answer. I apologize for giving you such a long answer. But I'm not saying that it's a definite. I still think the Astros can win this in 4. If not, if they come back home, I think they clinch in 5. I think they win it in 5, and I'm okay with that. You just got to get to the next round. But before you get to the next round, you got to win the next game. This team's going to get on the plane. They're going to be prepared, and they're going to ball out like they normally do. And I like our chances. And so don't jump off the playoff train just yet. Don't worry about this. 6-2, 6-4. So look, the Astros have scored 8 runs. The Twins have scored 6 runs. I'm sorry, no. The Twins have scored 10 runs. The Astros have scored 8 runs. So both teams have put up crooked numbers. The Twins have outscored the Astros, but it's split 1-1. You go to Minnesota. Christian Javier's got to pitch, not necessarily the game of his life, but he's got to be very good. He's got to be very accurate, because let's talk about who is going in game 3 before we go. Sonny Gray, 1-0 right now, and Christian Javier, who has not yet pitched in the playoffs. It's Correa versus Astros. Walk him every time. You almost Correa. I don't know, man. I mean, the way he hit today, you might want to put that guy on base. But then again, don't they usually have someone right behind him? I believe Royce Lewis hit behind him tonight. If you walk Correa, then you've got Jeffers. Okay. Oh, okay. You got Lewis in front of him. You got Lewis, Correa, then Jeffers. Look, I'm not going to give them any strategies, but I would put a better hitter behind Correa myself. You think who's pissed? Do I think who's upset? I don't know. Work Music says Astros in 5. Yeah, Carlos Correa killed us tonight. That was a bad beating by him. Someone says Maldi needs to sit the bench the rest of the series. McCormick's going to get benched for Dubon. I wouldn't mind if Dubon started game 3, to be honest with you. Dubon's bat definitely needs to be in there. Right here, Victor says the Astros win in 5. And real quick before we go, I just kind of want to wrap up. You have Sonny Gray versus Christian Javier going on Tuesday. And make sure you tune in tomorrow night. We'll have a show previewing game 3, a little bit more deeper dive into it and what we expect or what you can expect for that. And just make sure that you like and subscribe. Look, we're less than 500 away from 10,000 subscribers. So make sure you do that and check us out. Look, don't lose hope. I met a lot of fans this weekend, both games. I met, oh gosh, I wish I had my wallet here. I met one of the priests, I believe. Oh gosh, I'm going to get his name wrong. I met one of the fathers from the Catholic Church across the street from Minute Maid, and I have completely drawn a blank here. So, Father, forgive me for forgetting your name, but I will shout it out next game, but or next show. But I met a lot of you guys and girls, and thank y'all so much for the support. It's humbling when you come up and you say how much you enjoy the show and we love doing this. And I just had to say that because I don't ever want someone to feel like they can't come up and say hi. But please, if you see us, say hello, say what's up, and thank y'all for supporting us. Thank you, Father Paul. For our Paul Felix. Okay, thank you so much. I could not recall the name. I apologize. Thank you so much for that. Yes, at the Annunciation Church. Thank you. You guys, you guys are awesome. I literally thought I had his card here in my pocket, and I don't. I've got somebody else's card. But at the end of the day, no online confessions, Brett. No, you will not be seeing that. Yordan Alvarez's home run was all for naught. You would have liked him to connect earlier in the game. The roof did not cause this loss. It was simply a gem by Pablo Lopez, and the Astros had no answer. Framber did not come out and hold his line, and he just simply didn't have it. So, guys, look, go ahead, hang your hat tonight, sleep easy. You're an Astros fan. This is Locked on Astros Nation. There's no other team that I can think of that I would rather be a fan of and I'd rather do a show of than the Houston Astros. I made Htown Wheelhouse, and you guys will make our time on this show so valuable, so precious. We appreciate you. Even after a loss, we can pick each other up because we're always positive, always Stros. Don't let one loss get you down. This is a team that is battle tested, and we're ready. We are road warriors. And for myself, Eric Huysman, and everybody here at Locked on Astros, remember, we're your team every day. Go Stros.